Hey, welcome all. We're going to get started here in just a moment. Victor Garlington here with Bioeconomy Solutions. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today, and we'll get started here momentarily. Welcome, everyone. We have a lot of people coming in today. We're going to allow a couple more minutes for everyone to jump in the meeting. We have some speaker changes today, but we're going to make things happen in a very positive, formal way today. We're going to be talking about how the blockchain, coupled with renewable green energy and nature-based solutions, can make the big difference. So today we have Peter Watson. Peter Watson is part of one of the fastest growing agro businesses on the continent in Africa. Today we'll hear from him and his partner Vio Kritu about EDMA and how the blockchain is changing the perception of ESG and sustainability and taking us from a cost basis to a revenue generation platform with EDMA. And we're going to make you an offer today later as well. Peter, do we have you today?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great,
I'm,
fantastic.
I'm here.
Well, with that, I don't see
Sorry, I'm
Vio
just
yet.
yeah, just trying to sort out
Okay.
one thing. Sorry, guys. Too many things going on. Hi. Hi, nice to meet you all. My name's Pete Watson. I'm the CEO of Watson and Fine. Um, we are a fast-moving agribusiness within Africa. Um, my sort of goal is to be able to, employ and feed over 10,000 people. But we are also into a lot of other things, such as we have Watson Fine Energy, where we're invested in renewables, and being able to provide a much wider and feed a lot of people and provide a much wider and better ecosystem for everybody. So that's where we're at in terms of what we're doing. And I'm a shareholder in EDMA, and Vio, who I'll introduce, is the owner of the project, one of the smartest guys I know, and I've known him for a very long time. And so what we're creating within EDMA is very, very exciting. So in a nutshell, what we are doing is we are tokenizing renewable energy, and we do that in a number of ways. So, and one of the things that we looked at, because we obviously in the space ourselves, so one of the things that we looked at is where some of the major problems were, and going through ESG reporting and compliance, and it's as you guys know, I'm sure you're all in the space, it's extremely difficult to get things verified. So what we looked at because everybody focuses mainly on the commercial sides of things. So what we decided to do is, and we looked at your individual homeowners who have solar, for example. So of that, there's over 33 million homeowners with solar. And very few of those guys are actually earning any money. So what we decided to do is we decided to say, well, on their own, they don't produce a lot of energy, but collectively they do, and it's hugely powerful. So we've looked at, and we thought, well, if we went and sort of said to them, we'll give you $1 in essence for every 10 kilowatts you produce. We're not taking your energy, we're just taking that data. And effectively, we're recording that data through AI and the blockchain, and we are selling it, in effect, to the wider market, of which there's a big market for that. So in the ESG, so if you want your ESG reporting done, instead of having to go and verify each site individually, which is a nightmare, huge amounts of paperwork, it can be done all those can be verified automatically through AI and the blockchain. So that creates, firstly, that creates a lot of strength within our blockchain, because who's going to turn down an extra roughly $1,200 a year for doing nothing? Not many. And then when you translate that to commercial projects, say, for example, big solar projects in Africa, and the only way that they are really funded is based on a power purchase agreement. Now, who knows if the government's actually going to pay them? But then if you can then prove that, they are going to get, for every 10 kilowatt hours they produce, this is how much they earn, it's going to make those projects very easy to fund. And that's what makes it exciting for us in our sort of ecosystem, because we've got the EDM, which is our governance and utility token. And for the energy producers, it's ETT tokens, energy tracking tokens. Then we have our CLE tokens, and I'll let Via run through this with you later. And then we are building up our own stable coin, like USDT, but our own stable coin. So that's going to make the ecosystem extremely strong. And when you look at all different types of renewables, from not only solar, but wind energy, anything that can be monitored, we can plug into our system, which is very exciting for us. And we expect to have a very, very strong adoption of that. So what we have is we have people in different camps. So you have obviously the energy producers. You have the people, the companies that are wanting to get the ESG reporting done, as well as moving further on to the other people that want to do the carbon credits, and which we will be doing at a later stage, which is exciting again for me, because working with Victor's, the tree man, and Derek, unfortunately, who can't be here, we're going to be planting Paulownia trees in mass. Our initial site that I've sort of put aside for that is over 32,000 hectares. So that's quite exciting, which means that we'll be able to do carbon credits, and that obviously will flow through the ecosystem, making it very exciting and very lucrative for sort of everyone involved. And so right now where we're at is we're in our pre-launch, which is exciting for everybody, because it gives you the opportunity to jump in at 5 cents, which is, I think, is a really good offering, because at 5 cents, if you were to put $1,000 in, for example, you would get 20,000 coins. Now, when we launch fully, we're launching it at 50 cents. So at that launch price of 50 cents, you get an instant 10x return, which is lucrative for you guys. But smart people will actually hold those coins and not sell them, because you could take out 10% and cover what you initially put, or 20% and double what you initially put in. But the whole idea is to stay strong and stay with it, because if the coin only went to $10, for every $1,000 you put in, you get $200,000 in return. So that's where but we are aiming to head to over 120 over the next couple of years, which is very exciting for us. And how we do that is by having the wallet adoption, building the ecosystem, having more and more of these projects connected into our EDMA network, which is very, very exciting for us. And here's Vio. I'd like to all introduce you to Vio. He is the brains and the owner behind EDMA. Very smart guy, very good at putting systems and things into place. And the one thing I would like to say about Vio is he always makes sure that everything is done absolutely correctly, without fault. And as I don't know if any of you have dived in and had a look at the website today, but we've actually decided to do a secondary audit just to make sure that we're doing everything right and making sure everything is so we can go from strength to strength. And I'll let Vio take over. Hi, Vio.
Hi, Pete. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. I was actually telling Pete that I was having a lot of fun right now with the audit companies because we're kind of fighting with them. We wanted to make it very simple and very clear for the people that are joining our pre-sales. So we wanted them to have to receive the tokens as soon as they make the payment because this is what we thought it's right. And they keep asking us that we need to renounce on the contract. And if we renounce on the contract, we're going to have some problems later because we're not going to be able to actually determine when people can actually start selling their tokens. And right now we're in a bit of conflict with them. I hope we should solve everything by tomorrow. Basically, what Pete said is right. We already started working on the development right now. You're going to see that on the website. We kind of stopped the pre-sale until the audit is ready. I think audit is going to be done by tomorrow from two companies, Cyberscope and CoinSalt. And later on, after the pre-sale is finished, we're going to work with Certic Audit for deeper ones, since it's going to be required for a major exchange listing like Coinbase and Binance. What we're building is a platform. So it's more than a token. It's a platform that's going to have 4 different tokens, like Pete said. 2 tokens are going to be directly connected to the energy generation of any kind of source, or whether small or big source, whether a household or anything. While the other 2 tokens are going to be, one is going to be a stable coin, and the one that we just launched right now on the pre-sale EDMA token, which is going to be the governance token that's going to be used through the entire platform. So the idea is that we as a company, like I'm the owner and the founder of EDMA Group LLC. I started in 2020 as a company, and we got like over $80 million in revenue since we started. Right now we're international. We have our main HQ in the United States. We have offices in Europe, in China, and our main activity was in trading. And recently, not that recently, around 3 years ago, we started looking into renewable energy area. Right now, we are involved in acquisition and construction of around 800 megawatts power in Romania, including on buying one of the largest companies in Romania that is an energy supplier for the Romania market. And this is how we actually started working on this venture that we have right now. The idea was that we noticed that there were a lot of issues with the entire financial process when it comes to renewable energy projects. I don't know if people are in this call are involved in the space. I'm pretty sure that you noticed that the process for financing any kind of renewable energy project is actually very difficult and comes with a lot of hurdles. Takes, I think, around 2 years to finally manage to find the finance and start the entire construction of a project. And when we analyzed the market, we tried to check what was happening on the crypto space and how other people were doing the energy tokenization before us. So one of the biggest issues that we noticed was that instead of trying to include everybody that's providing renewable energy services or doing or is in this space, they were trying to exclude people like households. So like we had a talk with Pete about this a couple of weeks ago, and in a way, it makes sense because when you're looking at a household, what do you see? You see 7 to 10 kilowatts power of solar panels on a house. So, of course, it's a very small quantity that they can produce every year compared to a big park. But when you look at them as a category, they account for around 25% of the entire production, renewable energy production worldwide as of now.
which is
Only
massive.
last year, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that, he's right. That is massive. But also, I
Yeah,
think one of the things about with what we're doing and what we're building here is that it also gives the average person an opportunity to earn some money. And Vera and I especially like that, giving that, giving back to smaller people as well, so that so it's a sort of a fairer playing field as well. And someone asked me here, in the chat there, which country can join us. Well, as long as we can connect to the system everywhere, there's not any particular place that can't be connected, which is the exciting thing. And I think that's a really, really good proposition because there is nowhere that we can't really connect to. And the newer panels have the technology that we can connect straight into. If they're older, they can be via a little IoT device.
yeah, and the thing is that not only that we're helping the households, but we're also helping the system grow because by not targeting this small category of people like the small households, you are basically eliminating the mass adoption from your system. So this is what the problem was for all the other systems that were actually tokenizing energy before. All of them followed the same pattern. First of all, they didn't have a right economics. So the day of the launch on the exchange, after they finished the pre-sale, all their tokens went up by 300%, and then they dropped way below the pre-sale stages. So everybody lost their faith and trust in the project by itself. Second of all, they only targeted the large producers and companies, so they did not see any value into the households, which removed the mass adoption from their entire speech. Which is what we're doing differently. So every token that is being purchased right now, this is why I told you that I'm having a fight with the Cyberscope, because Cyberscope basically what they're telling us is that we need to have the pre-sale run and for people to be able to claim their tokens at the end of pre-sale. And we don't want that. We want people to see everything transparent and at the moment of the acquisition for the tokens to be sent directly in their wallets. And now they're flagging this as being critical because we don't want to renounce the ownership. So anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the idea is that if we do not include the vesting progress in the token side, then there is a risk of pump and dump and for people to indeed very few lucky ones to actually make some money at the day of the launch on the first exchange, and for everybody else to be upset because they didn't manage to catch the wave. That's why we included a vesting program that will unlock basically 20% of every supply that is being bought through the pre-sale every 3 months. So 20% on the launch, 20% on the next 3 months, and so on, until the entire supply is unlocked. The idea is that our strategy is very simple and transparent in the exchange listing. We want to list on 8 exchanges after the pre-sale is done, including Coinbase and Binance. So every month we're going to have a new exchange where we're going to be listed. We took all the 8 top exchanges right now on the market with the highest volumes and highest membership. So I think once the pre-sale is over, we expect that the price is going to be very stable between 50 cents and $1 for every coin. That's why we have a very clear strategy in this space. And
yeah, which is very, very exciting. Sorry to cut you off there. I think that's one of the things that I absolutely love about the project and I love about Vera is because VIA is very open and transparent, and we're here to make sure that we're going to build this for the longer term. It's not just a case of you know pump, like you said, pump and dump, get in quick and just lose everything, because all of the projects that we're looking at are all based on 30-year projects. So we want to be around for and have our ecosystem around for that longevity, which is great for the people involved, because right now you're going to be getting in at 5 cents, where if you look at how far Ethereum went, or even Bitcoin, it's a very exciting space, because for the first time, this is actually based on something tangible, something that people can see, touch, feel. Everybody understands renewables. They see solar panels. They can actually relate how things are being generated, as opposed to, other other coins that are out there that aren't actually based on something and are not actually giving back to people, which is what we're doing here. So that's very exciting.
Hey, Peter, Vio, this is Victor. Can you explain we have a diverse audience. We have people that are individual investors. We have folks that for the first time don't even know what a wallet is, like myself, when I first started with it, or how to get money into your wallet. And we have institutional investors with ESG requirements as well. Can you explain how the system of EDMA will help them not only from a standpoint of ESG in their company requirements, but also the individuals that are concerned about Mother Earth? Can you give a little talk about that, please?
Yeah, sure. So we are looking at the global economic right now, and one thing that we noticed was that because of the entire instability that's worldwide at this moment, the first thing that the governments intend to do is to actually cut down all the incentives and all the support that they offer to everybody that wants to install solar panels on their houses. And this basically is trying to decrease the amount of solar panel installations worldwide. And it tries to protect their economies, because they don't see any value on paying extra money for something that is not really required or demanding for the government. What we want to do is to try to encourage everybody worldwide to be part of this economy, and to generate their energy by themselves, which will, of course, help the global climate by giving up on pollution sources like coal or other ones. And by offering an incentive, because basically what we're doing is every time their solar panels are generating 10 kilowatts hour, we give them two rewards, right? We give them one token that is going to be used for carbon credit market, and another token that can be used on exchange listing, or through our partners for buying solar panels, or paying for renewable energy sources, or paying for the EV charging. So I think this is the goal of our platform. Besides helping companies with that are ESG compliance, and besides trying to help them automate the entire process through artificial intelligence, we want to make more and more people invest in solar energy, solar power energy, and be part of this entire ecosystem.
Well, thank you. I think this is really interesting because before I met Peter, I never really thought about African power from the standpoint of solar. And for those of you that have never visited Africa, people call it a diesel economy. And what do they mean by that? Well, everything runs off a diesel generator, literally. The grocery store, the hospital, the place that you go get gas, diesel generators. So when they brought this to me and said, we are basically tokenizing the excess energy from residential homes, that's a mind blower, really. Untapped resource, not only on a African scale, but a global scale.
Well, this is why this is how it actually started. Like I told you, we're involved in renewable energy projects over here in Romania, and because of our connections with China, one of our main EPC suppliers is actually Power China. And right now, I don't know, I haven't spoke to them for 2 days, but the last time I spoke with them, they were in Congo, and they were working on implementing a network of EV chargers because they're also involved in this space and building another solar panel park. So they're going to be our main partners in this for any kind of equipment and integration of our CLE token as a payment method for their services and products, which is going to be a great achievement because they're spread worldwide from China to Eastern Europe, and I think even in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. So they're our main partners. They're our EPC providers. They're doing EPC for us under COD rules. So I think we're going to have a very good network and connection after we're done with the pre-sale.
Yeah, and Via's right. And on top of Power China, there are a lot of other different manufacturers of renewable sources that we're going to be linking with as well. So, it really is going to create so much strength within the ecosystem of what we're doing. And then later on, when we start doing the tree planting and all of that as well, that's also very, very exciting as part of what we're doing moving forward in the long term. I think, Victor, you also asked a question about just for the layman who knows nothing about all of this and how they get involved, and what's the benefit for them.
Right.
So I think to answer some of those questions, if people are sort of not in that arena but are just wanting to be involved in the project and sort of benefit from the project, they can just come on once the secondary audit's completed, which should be in a couple of days. They can come on and they can obviously purchase the coins at 5 cents right now, whilst the pre-sale is still on. And then they can just watch that investment of theirs grow. And another thing they can do as well, one thing that we've just, because with us, we're all about people, and we want people to benefit too. So we put a referral system in there as well, so that if you share the word, if you bring people to the platform, you're going to get rewarded financially for that. And it's up to 10%, depending on obviously how much they bring in. But you get that 10% instantly. So we like to give back, and that's the whole thing about what we're doing and why we're doing it as a bigger ecosystem. And moving further down the line, and as we grow from strength to strength, we plan on having a very, very large adoption on here. So just as if you had got into Bitcoin or into Ethereum in the early stages, over the next few years, that's where we plan to be valued at, which is very exciting for everyone involved as well. So earning money, doing a good thing, both for the environment and for yourselves. I think it's a very, very ethical choice.
Well, that's great.
Did that answer your question, or did you want to go?
That's great, and we'll get into the attendees' questions here. Can we switch gears and go to the green aspect? Everyone understands right now that EDMA is focused on the excess power generation from rooftop residential solar. Let's talk about the green aspect. Let's talk about trees. Let's talk about, the carbon credit market, which is represented not only by trees, but row crops and biochar. Can we speak to the green carbon credit aspect of what this will hold for the future?
Yes, so we have a token that's going to be presented under an NFT that can be sold directly under carbon credit market. It's going to be available as soon as we get our certificates for being able to issue the carbon credits under our own company and platform. It's called Grow from Grow. And basically, it's gonna follow exactly the industry standard right now. So everything that's being done in reforestation or any carbon capture technologies And once we validate the data, we're gonna issue one NFT under this name, and people will be able to sell it on the platform. It's not gonna be minted like or generated by us like we're doing with renewable energy, because it cannot be tracked exactly the same. So it's gonna have to follow up the process for tracking these projects. So once they're done, we will issue the NFTs, and then they can sell them on our marketplace as carbon credits.
That's fantastic. You know, Theo, you mentioned earlier as a carbon developer that we are here at Bioeconomy Solutions, we have a number of friends and associates from that ecosystem that we have. We all looking at the same thing, money. It takes money to plant trees. It takes money to create sustainable ecosystems that take that biomass from trees into biochar. It takes money to do all of those things to just pay for labor and diesel. How do you see this helping with our CDR development for these carbon drawdown programs that we want to do, not only in Africa? You know, I have personally projects in South Carolina, we've got projects going in New Zealand, and Derek, as Peter mentioned, he has projects, you know, together we have over 100,000 hectares in Africa. How can this program help us get those funded?
So let me ask you one question. What was the biggest issue that you had with your projects when you started?
Money. When you go
Okay, so
to,
where
yeah,
did you get your money from?
usually it comes from the pre-sale of carbon credits in America, tax credits. We have large corporations that need drawdown, so they see the value in investing in the planting of trees so they can get the latent benefit of carbon credits. So it's really each project is very different. If we had a pool of monies coming from EDMA or EDMA system that we could pre-sell carbon credits or tax credits into the future, like the system allows, this would give us liquidity to plant as many hectares that or acres as we possibly could.
So let me try to convert this into how we approached it from the energy point of view. We had the same issue with renewable energy projects, because when you're trying to build a park, a photovoltaic park with hundreds of thousands of solar panels on the park, or a large one, for example, the one from Romania has around 700 hectares of land that are filled with will be filled by solar panels. One of the issues that we had was that when we were searching for finances, we were going directly to the source, to the bank, and the bank was asking us for a PPA agreement. Now, when we were trying to negotiate the PPA agreement with the final buyer was asking us if we have batteries. If we don't have batteries, they give us a lower price on PPA. If we have batteries, they give us a higher price. Batteries come with a higher cost. And we spent around 1.5 years, 1 year and a half, playing this game back and forth until we managed to get to a place where everybody was comfortable. So our idea is something similar to what you're doing with pre-selling the carbon credits. We thought, okay, so what if a financier, instead of looking at how much energy, what is the PPA agreement, they would look at the project and they would look and ask, okay, how much CLE tokens can this project generate in 1 year, and how fast can I recover my money if I give you the loan. On the other hand, the entire crypto space is right now in many places works exactly like a bank. Through the DeFi systems, people are putting their tokens as a guarantee or as a collateral, and in exchange they get stable coins like USDT or USDC or EDUSD, which is going to be our stable coin on the platform, and they can convert this stable coin into real cash for real projects to finance their projects. So our idea is very similar to is fixing exactly your hurdles and your problems, like it's gonna fix for us for the renewable energy projects. Basically, we're trying to encourage more people to join the space by changing the way that the financing is done for these projects.
Well, that's fantastic. You know, a lot of corporations around the world now have the criteria for the ESG, and the European has similar requirements mandated by government. And you've all heard the stories about greenwashing. How can the system help these large corporations, not only meet their report requirements for ESG, but avoid the greenwashing doom that most of them are headed to?
Well, greenwashing is one of the problem because officially investors they are demanding for more real-time data, and companies actually have a larger problem because they cannot commit to some goals for their ECG compliance because they don't have access to what needs to be done. Everything is very complicated right now. Every department needs to be involved. There is a lot of miscommunication between departments. On logistics, for example, they need to gather some data, then they need to send it to accounting, and everything is a complete mess, to be honest, right now on the ECG compliance market. So what we're trying to do, there are some AI functionality on the space already. We want to go directly to the source and help companies to gather the data through AI, analyze it through AI, and then do the report also through AI. We are aware that on the artificial intelligence model right now, there's not a very deep capability of issuing the report in the final form as any regulator would accept it. So we will have specialists in ECG compliance that will analyze the reports for us, and we want to offer this as a service to companies. We want to try to help them eliminate most of the cost and time that is being spent for gathering and counting data and putting it into a report for them. And we want to give access to investors to real-time data. So I think right now, for me, for example, and I'm not in the space for a very long time. I'm not in the ECG compliance market for a very long time, but it's kind of a puzzle for me why, with all the technology progress that has been done in the last 6 years, we are not in the place where a company, a multinational company, does not have to spend $60 million a year in order to be ECG compliant and in order to issue these ECG compliance to reports to the regulators. And why companies like all the car manufacturers, for example, from Europe, shouldn't have to pay billions of dollars in fees to European unions like they did last year in December, just because they didn't have all the ECG compliance reports on time.
Right.
So that's what we want to do. We want to use our development structure, because right now we have our inside development department through Prime Hire Solution, which belongs to EDMA. And our internal developers are going to focus only on the AI solutions for the ECG compliance market to make it as automatic as possible.
Yeah, which makes EDMA absolutely ahead of its time and where it's at. And that's one thing VO is brilliant at doing, is solving those solutions, coming up with those solutions. And that's why as these projects get connected to us, we'll be able to have that data and be able to do that accurate reporting, which will cut down the length of time and will make it a lot easier to have all those reports done on time, which absolutely just A, grows our network, and B, helps everybody else that's involved in the network, and also help people to earn from it. I hope that explains that a lot clearer, Victor.
That does. And give me a comment, everybody that's on the call. What do you think about that? Give me a 1 if you think that that's great, and 2 if you don't think it's great, then tell us why. But we really want to touch base on the white paper, Peter, that you guys put out regarding real world case examples of how EDMA has, affected the marketplace. Can you give us and speak to us, Peter, about some of those real world examples?
Yeah, I can get Via. Could you do that? Could you pull up do you want to run through the white paper? I don't know if anyone's seen it on the site.
Yeah, we can do that. Hold on, real world applications. We have a section on the website. I don't know if I can share, and I see that the chat is disabled, so I don't know if I can
I'll
share
go
my
ahead and
screen.
we'll give you access there. Just one second. We're going to make you the presenter. There you go. So you can share your whatever screen you like.
I think you made the presenter someone else because I cannot.
Uh, just look down. It says share. Or if you like, I can go ahead and pull it up. I have it here.
Yeah, you can go directly to docs.edma.app and you can see over there. You have a real world applications and there are nine different examples that we posted.
I'll tell you what. I'll put a link in the chat. Can we just do a quick verbal? We're at 1:39 minutes right now. We're going to be at an hour today, and then answer questions. Just go ahead and speak to some examples, if you would, Peter, Leo.
Peter, you want to do the honor?
Sorry, one moment. Would you mind just running through it with the guys quick on some of the real world applications on the white paper?
Okay.
Sure.
So basically on the white paper, we published 9 different applications. Okay, I think I can share my screen now. Yes, this one. You can see over here. I think you can see my
It's still
screen, right?
loading. It's loaded. Go ahead.
Okay, so we published different nine different applications, but I think there are gonna be way more because the way we structure the framework, it has more capacity. So first of all was empowering households, like the example that we discussed before. Every household gets 2 different tokens as a reward for generating energy. For every 10 kilowatts hour, 1 ETT and 1 CLE. The ETT can be converted into, here you have the entire scheme and the entire sketch. Basically, the ETT is converted into NFT once the quantity required for the NFTs is completed, and people can sell the NFTs on our market. Is not a token that can be used for selling on exchanges, only on our platform, and it's more like a tracker for the metadata that's being issued as soon as somebody generates the 10 kilowatts hour. Because every ETT is going to come with clear data regarding when it was produced, how much was produced, and what system they used. Now, for the corporate ECG compliance, they take benefit from buying the carbon credits and from taking advantage of our AI functionality. That's going to come as a subscription for the companies, and is going to automate the entire system that they have. For renewable energies, what we discussed before with Victor in terms of how people can actually finance their projects by using the tokens that they generate through energy as collateral for getting tokens from crypto space. Small producer access means that we're integrating everybody into the space. This is our unique approach because everybody else is excluding different categories in the system while we're trying to integrate everybody, absolutely everybody. So we don't care if you're a large producer or if you're a household or if you're a office building, as long as you generate renewable energy, the owner of the building and the owner of the system can mint the tokens. Reduce carbon, democratizing energy through community projects. Our idea was based on the fact that in order to make the household function and have a role in the space, you cannot indeed take the production from one household in 1 year, because one household generates maybe 10 megawatts in 1 year, which would be around 100 ETT. And in order for us to integrate them into the space, no, 1000 ETP, I'm sorry, in order to integrate them into the space and for them to generate NFTs faster, we will create community pools from inside the city. So if a city has 500 or 1000 households, they will be part of a pool. And every time the ETT is generated, it's going to go into that pool. And when one NFT is being sold, everybody will get a piece of that. This is what we're doing with the democratizing, sorry. So reduce carbon footprint, I think this is pretty straightforward and logical. The people that are using renewable energy sources, they don't count on other energy sources that have a different consumption. For example, just to give you a tip, in Romania, we have over 140,000 households with solar panels installed, and their total capacity last year was over 2.8 gigawatts hour.
Okay, well, that's great.
Generate, yeah.
That's great. Thank you for going through that.
Yeah, so we were actually calculating like no 2.5 gigawatts power. It's the total capacity that they were generated, and in order to actually build a park with that capacity, you will need to have around 3,000 hectares of land. So it's a huge investment that you would need in order to match their capacity, the one that they produced last year. And in Romania, this is growing very fast. Well, a year before, it was only 100,000 households. In 1 year, 40,000 households more. So this is advancing very, very fast. For the streamline compliance, it's exactly what I said before. We want to access real-time data. If you have a park, a renewable energy park right now, and you want to get your carbon credits to be able to sell them on the market, the process is very opaque and not transparent, and does double counting a very, very big time. What we are trying to do is to help people change this approach. So instead of waiting 1 year for a third-party testing company to come to your location, test, audit everything, give you a 200 pages report, and estimate how much production you had in the year before, and then give you the carbon credits, we want this to be live. So you generated 10 kilowatts hour. When you get one token. When you have enough tokens, the tokens are automatically converted into an NFT. That's it. Shouldn't be that complicated. You shouldn't need hundreds of pages of reports for to receive something that it's yours as a park and that you contributed to it, and you shouldn't have to pay for that. Like gold standard, for example, is charging around $100,000 a year for the reports, which is insane, in my opinion.
Yeah, the cost associated with these reports is staggering. You know, some
Yeah,
companies have budgets upwards of $2 million annually just for ESG compliance purposes, which, you know, is a
exactly,
loss
exactly.
leader in most cases. Do you
Yeah,
mind transferring that back to me? And I really do appreciate you touching base on that, Vio. We're at the 10-minute mark now for the call. We're going to end up here with just one more section, and then we're going to take questions here. Thank you, sir.
okay, sure. So let me know if what I need, what else you need me to do.
I just need you to transfer the host back to me, sir.
Okay. Hold on. I don't need, I think I need to stop the screen.
And Peter, what do you have? Any more insight on your thoughts regarding anything that we discussed so far?
I think we've covered a lot of it. I think one of the things just to sort of maybe to take away from from what we've been talking about
Right.
is that we've got longevity in what we're doing. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you for that. Thank you for that screen. I think that, we've got a lot of longevity in what we're doing. We've hit the market right where there's a massive need. Companies are going to benefit from this. Homeowners are going to benefit from this, and also people that have renewable energy projects, as well as what we're doing, you know, on the longer space. And I mean, it's very exciting for me, you know, especially as a farmer, and looking at what we're doing longer term, is because, you know, obviously I love the environment, and I love to be able to have the opportunity to create our own energy, but also the exciting thing for us is, you know, as we're planting those trees,
Right.
and we're building up that, you know, for me, there's nothing I love better than planting a seed. You know, actually, I love getting
Right.
my hand,
Right.
you know,
Right.
even though, you know, we've got huge amount of acreages and all this kind of stuff. For
You know, we
me,
should give
the
each other
basic,
an
the
air high
smallest way,
five for the farmers on the call. Just air high five. Boom.
yeah, yeah. For me, the whole thing is the same. Being able to plant that seed and watch it grow and develop in the same way as Edma's doing that. We're planting a seed in the marketplace where we're revolutionizing a lot of things,
Right. Right.
actually based on something tangible,
Right.
and something that has an actual solid future. It's like, you know, at the moment, you know, like you see in the crypto market, things are going up and down, up and down, up and down.
Right.
And, you know, is it going to go up? Is it going to go up? You know, and the smart thing right now is obviously Edma right now is at 5 cents. It's going to launch at 50 cents in a couple of months. So that's a guaranteed 10 times return. You're not going to get that in the current market where it's up and down, up and down. So whilst those maniacs are trying to sort out what they're doing, Edma's a safe place to put it
Well,
in,
let's
because
talk
it's,
about it for a second here
yeah,
because, you know,
yeah,
I appreciate everyone that joined us and those that are going to watch this recorded call and really take time to think about it, not only from the layman that wants to just tokenize and defer their emissions for their flight that they took across the country or across the world, but for those people that have ESG sustainability requirements. This is helping everyone down to the farmer level. It's creating jobs, it's creating equity for those individuals, for villages, for farmers, which you are and I am, because we
yeah.
plant green stuff in dirt and see it grow.
Well, that's it.
You
Well,
know,
that's it. I mean, you touched on a good point there as well. We talked about villages. Well, you know, there's a lot of the villages, like in Tanzania, for example, in the middle of nowhere where there's no power, there's no anything.
right,
Um, you know, although they've got cell power, you know, there's always cell phones. Even in the middle of the bush in Africa, you can get, you know, reception, which is a great thing, because on those homes, they can have solar panels and they
right.
can be connected to the Edma network. So some remote village in, you know, Nanokwe village, for example, in southern Tanzania, you know, 50 miles from anywhere else, can earn an income, and $1,200 a year for them would be fantastic, because some of their solar panels will get funded by the government anyway, because they're there, but
What
they
does
would
that
still
mean
then
on,
be
from
able
a
to,
ESG, I mean,
yeah,
standpoint, when you talk about environmental, social, and government, you're
yeah,
providing a sustainable income for a family that
yeah.
didn't know that money would ever come for
Well,
something that they
exactly.
don't have to do. They don't have to
Well,
work.
well, exactly. I mean, if you look at $1,200 a year, which
Right,
on an average house will, you know, will produce on average, you know, if you look at the metrics, I'm just using 1,200 as a guide.
right.
Okay, but for someone that only earns $70 a month, an extra $1,200 a year, which is amazing. And people say, "Oh, well, how will they be able to do that?" Well, everyone in Africa's got a cell phone, and they're all
Right,
connected.
right.
So
It's a
that's
different
that's
world
amazing.
if you come from a well-developed country such as the European Union or anywhere in America, South America in some areas. You know, when you go to those remote areas and there's nothing, you know, no power grid, you know, and if there is one, you're lucky if it is operational, and there's no selling back to the grid. So this is really making a huge impact for families, for individuals, and you know, for corporations.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
let's talk about it a little more.
yeah.
You know, ESG is made easy. We're talking about rooftop solar. We're talking about CO2. You know, carbon is now money. And if you don't know, Now you know you should join our Carbon is Money newsletter if you don't. You stay informed. But the blockchain, what you and VO have created, can fix many things from tokenized carbon credits to helping those poor souls that have to do that ESG reporting annually to save time, money with live ledgers. It helps prevent greenwashing. And when you marry this with nature-based solutions, it's a game changer. It's a game changer, literally.
100%.
So our journey that we're on together challenges traditional systems, which is PDF based, which can be, altered, if you will, i.e., greenwashing. And then, we're transitioning to new technology. A lot of us, I'm a baby boomer, sort of. I was born in '70, just to let you know. But, a lot
All
of
the
us,
best people were.
yeah, a lot of us in this age group, we haven't jumped on blockchain. The early adopters have. So our latent selves, we're like, what the hell are you talking about? What does that mean? But by implementing this technology with nature-based solutions, with renewable energy off of rooftops, we can implement something at a low fixed cost that is a solution for reporting and preventing problems with ESG plagued by gaps and inefficiencies. Corporations around the world have this requirement now. Now, does that make sense? Give me a okay, or give me a quick answer in the chat if that makes sense to you. But this is solving a problem that has been long reported. It's providing real data that's measurable and impactful that you don't have to guess. There's no guessworking with the blockchain. So any of you captains of corporations in sustainability with this ESG requirement, not only do you have a green place to put your sustainability with EDMA, with us in our projects, but you also have a nature-based solution. So this automated AI transforms it. And how does it do that? Well, with Internet of Things, which you've heard of, but have you heard of NEE? Well, what is NEE, Victor? Does anyone know what NEE is? It's net equal exchange. So by geofencing those trees anywhere in the world, we also tag each tree. We can tell what each tree is doing in a geographic area as far as carbon drawdown is concerned. When you look at biochar is a great sequestration source for emissions, and it's even more popular than trees now for the long-term sequestration effect that it gives for CO2. So let's talk about some real-world examples just for a second. Two companies that have sought carbon credits. The first company buys vague offsets from a broker, only to discover that they funded a deforested plot. No trees there. And that really does happen. The second, using a blockchain platform where each credit was an NFT tied to residential rooftop solar, EDMA. Now, with that, this NFT provides you history. It provides you a transparent, proven data, and shows you real impact on how those families were positively affected, how the green energy was made, and how it was valued. So blockchain turns trust from a gamble into a guarantee. And that's what we're really talking about from a number of different ways. When you look at the invisible asset, you say, Victor, what is an invisible asset? Well, let me tell you. ESG is a mandate, but most people that have that mandated responsibility in their corporate environments, they're just kind of scratching their heads. Their bosses are saying, where's the ROI in planting trees? It's a joke, right? Planting trees? No, that's a loss leader. That's not a profit center. Well, with a carbon offset, We can value that, monetize it, scale it with hard data. So now it becomes not a loss leader, but it becomes a profit center. So what you can't see with the carbon credits, because those trees are taking down CO2, you can now trade because carbon is now money. So the blockchain makes that visible and values it. Another area that we talked about is the rooftop revenue stream that we touched on during this call. This is ESG 3.0. Rooftops aren't just green, they're gold mines. Gold mines, when VO said 34% of global energy production from green sources like solar, that's a huge amount when you talk about a global scale. And when you put a value to it for dollars, it's huge. The tree that trapped time, what does that really mean? For those of you that don't know, Bioeconomy Solutions, as well as my team here, we plant trees, the Polonia tree. It's the fastest growing tree and one of the fastest growing trees on the face of the earth. So why the Polonia tree? Well, it is a massive consumer of CO2. So when you take that tree, grow it for just 3 years, 2 years, the second harvest, and you turn that biomass into wood chips and that wood chip into something called biochar, which is basically cooking that without oxygen, we have a long-term sequestration vehicle up to 2 centuries. So when you invest in nature and verify it with tech, carbon isn't an issue. And as you know, carbon is now money. And the byproduct of that biochar is a product used in a number of industries, which I wrote about. Take a look at our newsletter. But we have an increased high-speed carbon renewal and removal opportunity here with our tech, which is solar, which nature-based, because again, Peter and I are planting stuff, green stuff in dirt. And then we have an opportunity for large corporations with ESG that's scalable, with data that you can trust. So are you ready to put your future proof into an ESG strategy? A couple of ways that EDMA platform revolutionizes renewable energy and nature-based solution markets, by just integrating everything that we said into a easily automated, reportable, tokenized trading platform. So there's a couple of ways you can get started with us. And Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, VO as well. We'd like to be your consultative partner for your ESG program. And those that are individuals or don't have that requirement, we'd like for you to join us today and purchase the pre-sale of EDMA tokens. And we'll put the link in the chat as well. But with that, I'd like to turn it over to Peter and VO, and let's start taking some questions, if you will.
Yeah, sure, guys. We're open to questions. And just to give you a bit of a heads up, though, like I said, we're just doing the secondary audit, so that should be clear tomorrow. But VA does have other ways, which if you want to get involved and you can't wait for a day, we can help you do that too.
Let's discuss that.
I think you've disabled the chat there, Victor. So if you enable the chat, people can ask us questions and put their hand up.
Okay, let me get on that. Let's see here. I do have the chat enabled. Let me see. We'll go right ahead. VO, what do you think? What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, right now I'm working. I told you I'm a bit crazy with this audit right now because I'm trying to figure out a solution together with the developers on how to make the audit flawless. I don't really like to have any mentions on anything that we're doing, and I know that the job that the developers have done is very good. But the entire crypto industry is kind of allergic to the idea that the token can be owned by somebody. So the entire idea of crypto is to be decentralized as much as possible. So now, in order, I need to find a way together with the developers to make sure that everybody gets their tokens at the right time and that the audit is perfect. So that's my main concern right now, more than restarting the pre-sale. Pre-sale, yes, we paused it for until we have the audit ready, because basically we're going to launch a new version of the token, and that new version is going to be the final one that's going to be listed on the exchanges. And if, like Pete said, somebody wants to participate today and not want to wait for a couple of days, I think 2 days, which is going to be our deadline, people can do it. We can find solutions with that. It's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
How would you?
and that's a great comfort thing, for everybody, because as you can see, we're very, very transparent, and Vera is an absolute perfectionist. He'll make sure that everything is 100% right for everybody,
Right.
and that's one of the things that I absolutely love, and that's why we've been friends for such a long time.
Do we have a framework for the sustainable CDR, the sustainable management to come to us for handholding, for consultative process for their ESG program? You want to talk about that? That's a question. What's the process they're asking?
Okay, can you repeat that? Maybe I didn't understand exactly. I don't see the question.
As a ESG sustainability manager, and I won't say the company name, but let's give an example like Microsoft. Sustainable requirements, ESG requirements. What's the process for onboarding with us for ESG solutions and projects?
To be onboarded on the platform, you're talking from the producer point of view, like
No,
from a
I'm talking
household point of
about
view?
from a consultative process. ESG greenwashing, they want transparency in their ESG programs, and EDMA can be the source solution for that.
Yes, we're gonna offer a subscription model depending on your needs as an ECG compliance company, because you know that there are multiple needs levels over there, and multiple quantity. So once you sign a contract with us, once you join our platform, we start integrating directly into your systems as a company, and we start issuing the carbon credits and the services for automation as much as possible. And since we're building this platform with the idea of onboarding more suppliers for carbon credits, this is going to be a win-win for everybody, because basically we're creating a marketplace. So people that are that want to have ECG compliance solution, they will have access to a platform that will be able to sell them directly carbon credits without any brokerage in between, simple and direct from the source.
Okay, fantastic. I got a secondary question here. I'm trying to handle these as best I can. Everybody, they're coming in like rapid fire. Is the infrastructure of the project set up as a DAO?
Yes, not yet, because in order to be DAO, it needs to be fully decentralized. And right now, most of the tokens are under the team. We expect it to be DAO probably after the pre-sale, when we're going to renounce the entire contract. So I hope that answers your question. But right now, especially during the pre-sale, we cannot do that, because we cannot control the vesting part of the tokens.
Mm-hmm. Now,
so I hope that helped.
Yeah, I think that helped. And let me know if you need some extra explanation on that. And I did put my email address in the chat so everyone can contact me post event. You all are focused on carbon sequestration. What is the process regarding the energy use for token generation?
Energy use. Well, we chose Ethereum for especially specifically for this reason, because in 2022 Ethereum changed from proof of work to proof of scope, and by doing that, their entire carbon generation offset per year is around 1 ton for the entire ecosystem. So they have a very low consumption of energy, which helps us with the entire process and basically fuels the entire idea.
Fantastic. And Peter, do you have anything to add to that, sir?
No, I think that covered it. I don't
Okay.
know unless there's any other questions.
Yeah,
I
we
think
got the
for
rapid
the
fire.
question regarding the tokens and the ownership in real world assets,
Yeah.
look, we have an ecosystem that has 4 different tokens for a reason. We have the EDMA token, which is the main governance token that is gonna. It's not really connected to a real world asset as of now. It's more like a governance token. The only tokens that are gonna be directly connected to the energy are the ones that are being used in minted by the solar source, and then we have the stablecoin. Our idea is that with this platform, we just want to tap into the renewable energy market. But since our company as a group is involved in multiple activities, including trading market, we already have a planning for expanding into other areas in the future, including international trading for commodities, which is going to be a different platform and different market, but ETMA token is going to do the governance over there also. So I hope that this answered your question.
And for those of you, and correct me if I'm wrong, VO, for those of you that did just needed a quick recap, EDMA is the parent company, and the tokens that EDMA administers under that umbrella services these different areas. Is that pretty much correct?
Yes. So our structure right now, our main company right now is in the United States. It's Edma Group LLC, and we are in discussions with the legal team from Switzerland, where we're gonna open the subsidiary for the tokenization. It's gonna be Edma Digital Assets GmbH, and all the crypto projects are going to be under that company that is going to be owned by Edma Group LLC in United States. So basically, it's going to be U.S. ownership for under Switzerland regulation, because they have the best structural legal side right now and the most friendliest banks, which kind of answers the last question if it can be paired with Tether. Yeah, I think EDUSD can be paired with Tether in the future. Our idea is to deposit cash into the bank account from Switzerland, and for the bank account to issue the EDUSD, so we have one-on-one parity. And one of the reasons why we decided to have a stable coin on our own instead of using the ones that are in the system is because we don't want to be vulnerable to other third-party tokens and attacks that happened in the last few years. So we want to be, if something happens and we're responsible, we need to be responsible for our own mistake and not depend on other people. That's our idea. So yeah, you are snipers if you invest at this current level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because 5 cents now, like just to give you an idea, 5 cents now for $500 investment is around 11,000 ETMA tokens in your account. And,
yeah, your maths is better than mine. I always use $1,000 to 20,000 coins, because that for me is simpler.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it in my head. The idea is that in the stage 1, we also offer like 10% bonus for every acquisition. So if you buy 1,000 tokens, you're gonna receive to 1,100 tokens.
So you're making money to make money to be stable and save the planet.
Yeah, and the referral system actually works very well, as Pete knows very
Right,
well.
right.
People started sharing our referral links, and they make real money very fast.
Those of us that plant
They're-
stuff in dirt, and we go to the Ivy League educated people over in New York in the big buildings, and they say, well, what are you doing? I said, we're planting stuff in dirt. And they go, well, okay, thanks. Have a great day. But so this helps with that, not only from on the ground, but the corporate level with their requirements that are so cumbersome right now. You know, another gentleman asked, what are your costs to company purchase for a company to purchase your ESG services? Let me cover that. You know, every company is built differently. So it's going to have to be a bespoke one-off for each company. So just email me. My email address is in the chat, and let's book a call to discuss it further for which company you have in mind for that hand holding. Okay? Thanks.
So Gillian, no, the coin is built on Ethereum, and the minimum investment is $10. So it's very simple. We didn't build on Solana because Solana is connected to many fluctuations of meme coins right now, and it's not as popular and not as safe as possible. Yeah, you can use the Coinbase wallet. We have the option for multiple wallets connection over there, and you can use any kind of wallet that you want. We also have a troubleshoot section where you can see how the wallet is can be connected, and you can make the purchase.
Bill, did you misspeak? Didn't you say the minimum investment is $100,000? Is that what you said? No? Oh, okay. My bad.
No, we didn't get to
My
that
bad.
level yet. Yeah, I know what you're saying regarding gas fees, but I think in the last few months they were actually reasonable. Most of the transactions were around 6 to 20 cents, so not that high anymore on
Yeah,
Ethereum.
yeah. Mine was actually less than that. So, yeah, it's pretty reasonable right now, everybody. Keep them coming,
No,
everybody. What else you got?
well, that's it. I mean, also the good thing is what we do, with what we're doing is, we're a community, and we have a Telegram channel and a channel on X as well. So we always try to listen to other points of view and try and keep you updated as to where we're going. And the whole thing is this is a journey for all of us, and it's a very, very exciting time where you know we can almost defeat the big boys because we've got something better, more ethical, and that has longevity. We're not just about diving in and pumping and dumping, which is very, very exciting.
You
Yeah,
guys,
and regarding the question for with Ondo and Propi, no, we're not in the same league. Ondo and Propi are very focused on the US and SEC regulation. They don't have any kind of ECG and carbon. They don't really do real-time tracking of energy. They don't have regenerative economy, and they don't have any kind of community access. I think only Propi has NFT-based buyers, but for the rest, Ondo has only yield farms and LPs, so nothing else. So we're kind of we didn't even advertise our platform yet. I think this is the first meeting that I'm in where we're actually presenting this as a whole, and I think it's going to be very exciting once we launch our new website, which is going to be available in 2 weeks, and we finalize the audit. I think more and more people are going to join us.
let me just spell that out for everybody that's old like me. That's a ground floor opportunity, people. Ground floor. So, unlimited growth opportunity when we're combining renewable energy from solar residential rooftops to nature-based solutions that carbon is money and we're trading and carbon is traded globally. So this is a no-brainer, wouldn't you say? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, I'll check the website, Cryptoland SQ.
You know, when you look at project diversity, for instance, New Zealand versus South Carolina versus multiple countries on the continent of Africa. I've gotten calls from Portugal as well. Is there any differentiation in your minds, Peter, Vio, in the types of projects that come online, nature-based or solar?
Okay, that's a very interesting point. One of the reasons why ETT cannot be traded on exchanges market because you cannot give a predefined value to ETT as a token, which is why it's going to be integrated and the value of the ETT is going to be determined at the moment of the NFT conversion. As you know, the NFT conversion, so from renewable energy source to carbon credit, for example, you need to follow a ratio that depends on every country, location, depending on economic circumstances. So this is one. This is basically the reason why ETT doesn't have a predetermined value. So that's gonna
Mhm.
be the answer to your question is going to be determined by the local regulation and the local pricing on the carbon credit in that area.
Mhm.
That's going to be the main differences between them.
I just wanted to touch base for some of my American counterparts here. We have, through the Inflation Reduction Act, a tremendous opportunity here. Tax credits. Tax credits trade similarly to carbon credit, and it's based on the production of clean energy and, in some cases, biochar and some other areas. You know, could we also in the future, theoretically speaking, once we get over this launch and everything that you got going on, Vio, could tax credits in America be valued the same way as carbon credits on the platform?
That's not something that I can answer right now.
Okay. Well, open to discussion. All right.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Pete knows me. I like to give answers to what we know or what we have in the pipeline
Right.
and what we can predict. But in the future, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, guys, I'll keep working on them. Trust and believe.
Right,
All right. More
guys.
questions.
Very last question because
Okay.
Vera and I have to jump on a call very shortly.
You go right
Um,
ahead, guys, and I'll keep it going. I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can.
but
Um,
we're always here to help. Victor's, you know, we're all connected with Victor. So anything you need, just let us know. We'll try and help you, and jump onto the other channels. One thing Vera didn't mention, and one thing Victor didn't mention, is that we're having a $2.5 million giveaway. Um, and Vera, do you want to run? Because I thought that's quite exciting. Everybody likes to hear about that.
wow. I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we studied the pre-sales that other people did, and we got to the conclusion that in order to have as many people as possible joining us, we want to incentivize them. And in order to qualify for the 75 prizes that we have in place right now, between 10,000 and $100,000 for one person, people will need to own ETMA tokens, and if they want to own ETMA tokens, they can either buy them or earn them through the referral link. So, because when you refer someone, the amount that you need to claim as a reward, you can claim it in either Ethereum or USDT or ETMA. So it's a very easy and straightforward process.
And instant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, if you guys got to jump off, I'll finish answering any questions that will remain. But I do appreciate both you, Vio, and Peter, for joining us today for your valuable time, and everyone that registered and joined. This is a recorded event, and we will make it available here. I'll let you know. Just keep abreast to me on LinkedIn, and you will have a link to this recording.
Thank you very much, guys.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone. Now,
Thank you.
I'll
Bye-bye.
I'll stay on if there's anyone else that has questions. I'm monitoring the chat right now. Jillian, I got you covered there. What other questions does anyone else have today? And I understand, Vio, if you have to jump off and Peter have to jump off for your meeting, I'll just stay on.
I can stay for a couple
Okay.
more minutes. It's not a problem.
Okay. Do we have any more questions from Jesse, from Jonathan, from Marilyn? Okay. All right then. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate everyone. You have my contact information. When those questions come up in the middle of the night, just feel free to email me. Don't call me. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for your time, and we will talk to you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.